With over 400 celebrity interviews and tons of pop culture nerdiness, Too Opinionated is a safe haven for your inner geek. Find us at Meisterkhan.com or on YouTube under Meisterkhan Pod. And please subscribe. It would really help us out. Thanks, everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. Super excited today. I've got the stars of the Monster Squad with me, Andre Gower and Ryan Lambert. So welcome both of you. I should say welcome back to Ryan.
Yes, thank you. I've changed my name to Ferguson, by the way.
I prefer that.
And I'm Fritz.
Fritz. You're Fritz, I'm Fergie.
Well, that's what they were naming.
Ferguson.
What the choices for the new hippo, at the Baltimore Zoo. Is it
the hippo
Baltimore
child.
Zoo? Cincinnati Zoo.
They went with Fritz.
They went with
Ferguson
Ferguson
or Ferguson. No, I think it's out to a vote.
Oh, but they
Ferguson sounds like a very fancy hippo.
Well, the famous hippo is Fiona.
Right.
And this is like the little brother of Fiona.
Well,
so they went with narrowed it down
to Fritz or Fergie. Ferguson. I keep
Fritz sounds like somebody you'd want to hang out with.
Fritz? I would love to hang out with a Fritz.
Yeah.
Fritz sounds like someone that's gonna somehow murder you.
Was it Ferdinand? Was the other one?
That was the bull. Ferdinand the bull.
Oh, yeah.
Ferdinand's the bull.
Yes, Ferdinand's the bull.
Yeah.
Ferguson sounds like a guy that's gonna
buy you a beer
or
into the bar.
Tailor your
Hey
suit.
Ferguson, get me
He's
All
gonna
right,
tailor
see,
your
a
suit.
shot and a beer, please. Thanks,
See, I was thinking
thanks,
it was
Ferguson.
more that you go out and somebody says, "Oh, Ferguson's coming here." Like,
Ferguson's coming? Damn it. We're so rude. This
So-
night's gonna suck.
It's like, oh, we're gonna get Ferguson. It's like getting Munson. It's like getting Munson.
Yeah, Fritz is bringing him.
Fritz.
Fritz is like a spy, like a German.
Wait, what
He's
did
gonna
you
murder you.
I said, you don't want to get Munson.
We had you on, Ryan. We were talking about this. You know, we're actually in studio, which is a big deal for us. This is like all of the second time
Yeah, we are
doing this
in person.
studio. But we talked to you back when we first started the podcast. It's me and the Panda, and we were on a cell phone, holding it up to a microphone in a bedroom. You were terrific, but the
I
quality
was
of the
also in my
podcast,
bedroom under the covers. I just woke up, I think, and then when I was over, I threw the phone and went back to sleep.
I'm going to say that's the one advantage that type of podcast has is the fact that you're not on camera.
Do it in your underpants,
Yeah. But now 3 years later, you've doubled in size.
I'm still in my underpants.
You're still in your underpants. You brought your buddy. We're
I
closing in on
I brought
500
the leader of the
episodes.
squad.
Why
Oh,
are you
that's
in
me.
West Virginia?
What's in what?
No,
Seemed
we're
like
here.
a nice
We're
place
here.
to rest.
We got invited because we're doing a 35th anniversary special screening at the Albans Arts Center in St. Albans.
We're very proud of our Albans Arts Center.
Right around the corner from where we are.
Yeah, it's
currently
literally
sitting.
a block away.
So it's really neat. And I think it's neat coming to, wherever you get invited because not many people get to do that. And,
The screening's tomorrow, by the way.
Well,
Not today.
But they don't know when they're listening. It's like, yeah, I
Right,
did.
people showing up outside the Albany
Are
in this
we?
post.
I haven't been on your podcast.
Podcast.
Are we potty mouths on your podcast?
Now we got a reference of why you're.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to?
You want to go into that?
Wait,
I didn't know the potty mouth content on your podcast. So I'm
We're
gonna try.
wide open.
We're wide open. I fucked up the news this morning. We were on the local affiliate, and the event is tomorrow. And I said, "See y'all tonight, and let's come out tonight."
I was wondering what all those people were doing.
They're all lined up, and now they
Wow.
can't come tomorrow. It's great. So it's.
Knocking on the door. Hello.
But hopefully we have enough people, or a lot of people tomorrow. Not enough. There's no. I mean, it's not a minimum, but apparently, like John Schneider's also in town tomorrow, like selling rides in the
Really?
General Lee for $1,200. So a lot of people are like going to that instead of.
Well,
I was like, I don't know if
I mean-
Monster Squad fans are gonna give up meeting Ryan Lambert or ride in the General Lee.
that's a toss-up. But I'm guessing in
Is it
this
the
area.
General Lee? Like, is it?
He owns I don't know if it's the screen.
I feel like I have a die cast.
Would it matter if he had a car that looked like the General Lee and it's John Schneider? Would it matter?
I mean, I kind of want to miss the screening tomorrow night to go ride in the General.
Maybe he's a Monster
with
Squad
John
fan.
Schneider.
Maybe he shows up.
I got a funny story about that actually.
About John Schneider?
I do. The guitar player in one of my bands, early bands, Terry Ashkinos, his wife, Tanya Shevitz, was a huge John fan.
Yeah.
When she was growing up. And she still, to this day, carries her fan club card in her wallet.
There was a
She
John
actually
Schneider
has a
fan
John,
club?
Of course there was. It's Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
So she still has it. Showed it to me once. And I was like, "You're not in that. You don't." She's like, "No, here it is." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
I like
the
that.
official John
Now,
Schneider
that's a
fan
fan.
club. She still has it, and I was extremely impressed by this.
Yeah, that's a fan.
Yeah,
I-
Tanya.
Yeah.
Just
If
a
you're not
little-
I've
carrying
never
around
said
your
your name on
card,
the podcast before.
you're not.
There
Are
it
you
is.
really a John Schneider fan?
I don't
If you
know
don't have
if
your
I
card.
liked that show
Proving
that
it.
much.
Do you remember watching that show at all?
I
during the-
remember seeing it. I remember. I don't really want to go into it too much, but I'm Jewish.
Yeah. Yeah.
if
The,
that makes any sense.
Please go into it.
The Dukes of Hazzard was one of the shows that I got really interested in archery by, because they used to
Were
shoot
you
their
on Dukes of
compound
Hazzard?
bows. I was
They
never on
did.
Dukes of
You
Hazzard.
never got on Dukes of
I
Hazzard?
never got it. I did
There's
almost
always
every
some like
other.
80s show that I'm like, yeah, I used to watch that show, and Audrey's like, oh yeah, I was on episode 7 of season 3. I'm like, oh, and then I'll watch it. I'm like, oh my god.
But
You
between
do text me like, were you on a Twilight? I was like, yes. Were you
Yeah.
on St. Elsewhere? I was like, yes.
No,
like
my
I'm
favorite-
watching you right
My
now.
favorite one was I had just moved back to LA. I was in my bed, and I had like my TV was on like a box, and I was just exhausted, and I was just like laying down, and I took a nap, but the TV was on, and it was just like literally like antenna TV. Like I had rabbit ears.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that many channels, but there was like channel whatever 13 or something was in LA was showing like a A-team marathon.
Yes.
And I was like, all right. And still, like, wasn't a huge fan when it was on. And I'm like watching the A-team. I'm like, is that Andre chopping down a tree with Mr. T? And I texted you like, am I watching you chop down a tree? He's like, you sure are.
You are. I did chop down a tree with Mr. T.
That's
think
pretty
I-
impressive.
It is really impressive.
I
Like,
always say I could
hugely
be,
impressive.
I could totally be wrong, and I'm open to correct statistics, but I do think I'm the only person on Earth to chop down a tree with Mr. T.
I would not take that bet.
Yeah, so
I would zero take that I'd be like,
So do you want to know mine? Do you want to know what
Ooh.
my favorite show that you were on
Oh, that I was on?
that you
Okay,
were on?
yes.
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah, take a guess.
Remington Steele.
Oh, Remington Steele's a good guess. That's
Is
not
it
it.
Mr. President?
No,
That's
Mr.
no-
President.
that's no Webster.
Although
I know I can guess.
that was like George C. Scott, right?
It
Mr.
was.
President,
It was.
which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's a whole crazy story.
Yeah. Well, we may have to get
Well,
into that.
okay.
We'll
what,
get into that.
what was your?
Okay, what is
Do you want us to guess?
I
Or
can tell
I
you.
want to guess.
Or do you like-
wanna
I know
guess so
you
bad.
seem like you want
What's
to.
what's an obscure hint that Ryan would get?
Was it Knots Landing?
It was
It
not
was
guess. No, I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You were Tommy Hooker.
He's got. Okay,
I was too
I'm
good.
gonna go to the restroom. He'll tell you the story. He'll tell you the recent story. Wow. You have two. You've got two. Tell both stories.
You guys tell.
What's the other one?
The guy with the football.
Oh, you're right. What's the
And
other
then
one?
when you saw him again.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, we got to hear this story.
He's
Oh,
gonna
well.
die any day, so you
Okay.
can tell the story.
He's Tommy Hooker.
I was. So the backstory to that is, the TJ Hooker, if you ever watched the show, apparently you did,
Yeah.
always had kids. Like he was on the phone with them, and but they didn't live with him because they were divorced and they lived in Portland. They lived in-
TJ didn't have time for kids.
He was
No,
a deadbeat, man.
They lived
Yeah,
in
he was a
Portland or
deadbeat. Time for
something,
that.
and they decided to start bringing, as the show was, getting, and it's like I don't know, 6th or 7th season or something, and they said we're going to bring the kids in off and on, and then they're going to join the show and they're going to live with him, and I got cast as T.J. Hooker's son, along with a girl named Jenny Beck.
I'm already crying.
And
I can't wait.
it's well, what's great is like I remember very vividly as like a 12-year-old or something. The very first day of shooting on our first episode of T.J. Hooker, we're on a stage, and we come into the house, and we have like our luggage, and Heather Locklear comes down the stairs in a towel. I was like, I think I like this show.
Yeah, good show.
And
I was upstairs.
And then so we did a couple episodes, and then the season ended, but then the show got canceled.
Yeah.
So they didn't bring the kids back, but it got picked up by another network for one more season, but they didn't bring the kids back. But how the dates and the contracts were like, I was still under contract for TJ Hooker until the end of like the next season or something, so I couldn't do other shows.
I mean, did you view yourself though as Tommy Hooker, even though you weren't on screen? I mean, you're Tommy Hooker.
No, I was for a couple of episodes,
yeah.
So it's great.
But
it got in the, it was one of those.
You were a little kid laying in bed. I am Tom. I am Tommy Hooker.
I'm a Shatner offspring.
That's right. He's gonna call any day now. I know he will.
It's kind of uncanny. It looks like.
But it was a great experience, let me tell you. But it was great. But I couldn't work for like 8 months or something, even after they didn't bring the kids back. And I got cast in another show that I was unable to do. And
that kind of sucks.
That show was called Growing Pains. You might have heard of it.
It did okay.
It did okay. But which
you
one?
could have been on Thursday
I'll tell the
night.
Shatner one. So
Yeah,
we're
on that one. Which one? Not the one with the football?
Do we want to tell that one?
I want you to tell
I
both.
think
All
you
right,
have to
so
tell
we're
the football
on.
story.
Ryan and I and
Sum it
Ashley
up.
Bank are on the 30th anniversary tour for Monster Squad, going around the Alamo draft houses, and we are in one location in Texas, I believe, and we go out in the lobby after the Q&A and we take pictures and sign autographs, and we're at the table, and this guy waits around until the end, and he's got like a briefcase and a jacket. And I'm like, hi. He's like, hey, how's it going? He's like, he gets something signed, and he's like, I just wanted to let you know that you were Tommy Hooker. Yes, I was.
He gonna let you know.
Yeah,
By
and
the way,
he goes,
I'm
that's.
witnessing this.
By the way, he's like,
I'm watching.
he said, would you mind signing my DVD box set of T.J. Hooker? And I was like, no, this is cool. Like, great, I'll sign it. And he's like, and I've got another request if you don't mind. And Ryan are like, oh, you want to take a photo or something? He's like, well, no. And he he pulls out a Nerf football and this briefcase and a jacket, like a blazer. And he's like, you remember the last scene of the episode Homecoming where you were leaving and you're at the airport and you throw the ball to Shatner and then he throws it back to you and you catch it and you walk off and go.
Was that the ball?
No.
It wasn't me.
I'll show you. I have that scene on my phone. I'll show you that. This was like a lime green Nerf football or something. I was like, I do remember that scene. I was there.
I know where I want this story to go, so let's see if it
He
gets
goes,
there.
he goes, will you reenact that scene with me?
Yes. That's what I was
wanted
looking
video.
for.
I wanted video.
Now, I also thought about it that the guy was very nice. We've seen him subsequently as well. Nice guy. It was just sort of.
Did you reenact the scene?
I did it, but I didn't want to do it exactly the way it was. So I was like, Ryan, you got to get in this and totally mess it up and goof off on this because
Did he go full Shatner? Did he?
Yeah, I didn't know what this.
Was he going to be Shatner in the scene?
Yes. So which means there was he wanted to play the dad,
What
and
did
the
I
kid
do?
was like, I wasn't really sure what was happening, and then my mind started going down this rabbit hole of weirdness, and I was like, I'm gonna do this guy's request. But I'm not gonna do it exactly as asked because there's some weird shit going on here.
God's
And so I was
got
like,
one
Ryan, we gotta give
request
this,
and you're
goof
gonna
off
mess
a
it
little
up?
bit. Well, I did. It was when we're eating pizza later. I'll tell you where I think this actually was going, and so like we did it, and he was a nice guy. He was like, "And will you put on the?" I said, "I'm not putting on that jacket." I said, "I don't know where you got that jacket. I don't know what dead kid you took it off. I don't know what this is, and I don't think it'll fit." It was so he was a nice guy. We did it, and he thought it was fun.
Was he though?
But then he pulled out like paper and goes, "I wrote the dialogue down." And I was like,
"All right, I'm kind of liking the guy now."
Well, the funny thing was,
But
it had really everything of his like demeanor and like his presence in front of us had zero to do with the monsters.
yeah, it was all about this.
CJ Hooker.
Yeah.
Meeting the kid from TikTok.
Did he have a card that said he was a fan of T.J. Hooker or William Shatner?
I have an answer to that. To remind me, I'll tell you off air. But so we did it, and I wanted Ryan in there to kind of like so we could goof it, and so we did. But I've also seen that guy again later on. He's a nice guy.
Tell me you posted the video and tagged William Shatner in it.
No. I didn't want this.
Something like me having to catch with that.
But the funny thing is, Ryan's favorite story is this is years after that experience. But this is a couple years ago. We're at a big convention. I think we're in Louisville, Kentucky, and it's GalaxyCon, so it's a big show. And Ryan and I are there. Ashley's there, I think, too, right? And there's like wrestlers there. There's like Alice Cooper's there.
We're in the green.
We're
in the green room. I'm sitting next to Henry Winkler. We're chatting, and over here is like David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. I'm like, oh my god! And then I look over, and Alice Cooper was sitting with us. And like,
so I started talking like Alice Cooper and I were reading the same book at the same time. We're like, oh, we're reading that too. We're like, great. So we're talking. And Alice Cooper's a golf nut, and I'm a golf nut. So we started talking about golf. It was Jack Reacher. Yeah, it was Lee Child. Yeah, we were reading the Jack Reacher stuff. And so I was hanging out with Alice Cooper talking golf and Jack Reacher novels. But Shatner was there.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite.
And he's just sitting there and he's waiting. And
jealous that I don't get to do the punchline.
So, do you want to play Shatner in this reenactment?
Now you do it. Go ahead.
So I walk up, and this is our first day we're there. We're in the green room. I walk up and I was like, "Mr. Shatner." He's like, "Yes." And I said, "Hey, I don't want to interrupt your salad, but I just want to say hello. This is Ryan. We're signing like an aisle over from you, but I wanted to say hello, and it's good to see you again because it's Andre Gower. I was your son on T.J. Hooker." And I got this fantastic, not blank, but not like focused, like a very thought-provoking stare from William Shatner that went on along like
a while,
an extended little time, and then he goes, "I had a son on T.J. Hooker." And I said, "You did.
It's Tommy."
And he goes, "Was it like a flashback or something?" And I was like, No. We actually joined the cast. Like, we had a couple episodes, and then we were supposed to join the whole next season, but it got canceled. And then went to another network. I was like, why do I know more about your show than you do? And I was like, wait, you know what? You've been doing this for a really long time. I can totally understand why you don't remember every week of every show you've ever done. But I was like, yeah, you have. But that was me. I enjoyed, the experience, and I just wanted to say hello. And he's like, well, it's nice to meet. I had a son on T.J. Hooker.
This is a great story.
That is what he did say. He did say that, but the way I say it when I tell the story to like just when you're not even there, I always say.
Glad you tell my story.
I do. I tell it all the time. I think it's fucking hilarious. And when someone says like, "Oh, William Shatner's," like, "Oh, you want to hear William Shatner's story?" I tell the story. In my version, he goes, "T.J. Hooker had a son," which I think is funnier. But I think what he actually said was what he said.
I had a son on T.J. Hooker.
Yeah, that's a good
but then the ironic thing, I swear, like a month later, I'm out before I'm playing golf. Ironically, not with Alice Cooper, unfortunately, but I stopped in this little like Mediterranean place to eat, and there's Shatner with the guy. And I'm like, oh god, was like, I've got to say hello.
I will not
Yeah.
be approaching.
And I walked up and said,
Did he remember that he had?
I said,
a son
hey,
at
it's
that point?
Andre. We just met like 3 weeks, just said hi 3 weeks ago in Louisville. Was your son on Jogger? He's like, oh, yeah. He goes, hey, how's it going? I was like, great. I'm not going to interrupt. I got to go play golf. Bye. And I was like, I don't think he still thought he had a son on TJ Hooker. But I have the video proof that was reenacted in the lobby of an Alamo
It's a
Draft
good
House
scene. I've seen
by
the actual
a guy with a
scene.
briefcase.
Does that guy have video of him and Shatner reenacting that scene where he is?
Wait, he's playing me? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't think he does, but I think he
I wouldn't bet against it.
I think he wanted to be I don't want to say this. I think he wanted to be the daddy in the scene.
Yeah. I was afraid you were going to go there.
Yeah, so or the father figure. Sorry, the father figure.
And moving on.
Editing.
So Ryan, I'm gonna quiz you. Let's see if you can. Do you remember
No.
the show from the '80s that you were on that I got the most excited about?
Webster?
It had nothing to do with you. I'll tell you. That's
That
that's
was
your
gonna be
hint.
my
It had
guess.
nothing to do with you.
Not Kids Anchor. I was on it.
You were on it. Though.
Silver Spoons?
Silver Spoons. A big Aaron Gray fan.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, she was very sweet. She was very nice. I remember there was a scene I was about to walk. I was supposed to walk on or something, and I did not do. I don't think I had any scenes with her, but she was backstage and because I grew up kind of watching Buck Rogers.
Yeah,
to be-
me too.
Yeah. So bitty bitty. And,
We were all Aaron Gray fans.
Right.
after
So
that.
I'm standing in front of her, and I was like, I was a teenager. Come on.
Come on.
And I was like, there she is. And she was very sweet, and she gave me a hug.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's, Aaron Gray gave me a hug. Let's just go with that.
I'm jealous of that.
She was
As
very nice.
jealous
she was very sweet.
as I am of you playing Shatner's son, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
That's
Hug from Aaron Gray.
Those things that I did, like those things, like Silver Spoons, Webster, like all those little guest spots that I did during Kids Incorporated and Monster Squad and stuff were like, that it was like the casting director, just like, hey, can Ryan do like a week on Silver Spoons?
Yeah.
I didn't go on.
The answer is yes.
Stuff. Yeah, I was like, my manager was like, he'll do it. He'll be there. You're on Silver Spoons this week. I'm like, I am? Do they still have the train in the video games? No. That was like, he's older now. Like,
You were both on a TV show as guest stars. Can you name that one?
Huh. What was it? We're
Mm,
different
all right.
episode.
Different episodes.
Different episodes?
My Two Dads? No.
It does have no. That's a
Not
good
My
guess.
Two
It
Dads.
has
You were on My Two Dads?
it has a tie-in to Buck Rogers.
Okay, Gil.
Oh,
Sidekicks.
Sidekicks. You were on
Sidekicks.
We
I was
totally
on
know
2
this.
episodes of Sidekicks.
You were on
Yeah.
Sidekicks?
Yeah, I was on
We were
Sidekicks. I was
we
bully
figured-
one,
We
and then I
actually
was bully
figured that.
two.
Yeah, we were.
I went to high school with Ernie Reyes Jr. Him and I were buds.
Ernie's great.
And he just, was like, you want to be on the show this week or something? I was like, sure. And you want to be on the
Did
show
you get
again?
him?
I got him.
Been trying to get this fly
You got the flag.
all
He's
day.
a little tiny guy.
Jeff
Not a
Gold-
real-
Yeah, a little guy. Yeah, just a little.
Jeff Goldblum
gnat.
has
He's no more.
left the building. Or he's on your hand. Ew.
I'm gonna turn into him in an
Now
hour.
he's in your nose. So Sidekicks, yeah. I think I had one scene with Gil.
Did
I'm
they ever
not
bring
sure, I
Chuck
don't
Norris
remember.
on that show? Because he was in the movie.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with the
It,
show.
I
it
don't
did.
think it
You
had anything
to
sure?
do with the
I
show.
thought the show was.
I don't
like,
think it was a spinoff of the thing.
Okay.
I think it was because I think the movie was at. Maybe I didn't.
All right, but this show is losing ground with me now because I was thinking Joe Girard doing
Yeah.
karate moves. I'm
Right.
not remembering this show correctly.
No,
That was a great show. It was a good vehicle for Ernie.
It was a great
Yeah.
vehicle for Ernie. It was fun to shoot.
How many do you? What are you doing over there?
He's trying to catch this fly.
It's like a little net, but apparently there's more than one, or I didn't kill him. So.
Yeah.
I think it's okay
You-
because Gina Davis just
you
walked in the door, so
That's
we're good.
That's right.
Good.
Yeah, sidekicks.
I like
Kill me.
That's right.
Help me.
Sidekicks. You're absolutely right. Sidekicks.
Yeah.
Good
Oh, I knew I was right.
Yes.
Sidekicks was
See
good.
if you guys could.
Yes.
Ernie and I used to go to Laker games together. We'd get off school and he'd say, "Do you want to go scalp some tickets at the Forum?" And I would say, "Yeah, let's roll."
Yeah. Let's.
And we'd go down and get like a couple seats. And I think one year was like Lakers Utah. It was playoffs.
Nice.
And
So like the Stockton Malone.
It was
years?
Stockton Malone, yeah. And I think it was like first round, and I think we got playoff. I still have my stub. Lakers versus Utah said playoffs.
Nice.
And I think we got scout tickets for like, I don't know, $10 each.
Yeah.
Had good seats.
That's pretty good for a playoff game.
Yeah.
$10.
So I went to the playoffs in the 80s.
Yeah,
Have
all right.
never been to a playoff game since.
So here's my Gil Gerard story.
Uh-oh.
So he comments on like a ton of people that I have on the show. Like I'll put up the little thing that so and so's on the show, and he'll comment, say, "Oh, I love her. She's really good in this," or "I worked with her on this."
Ooh.
So every time he does, I send him a message. Mr. Gerard, I would love to have you on the podcast. Crickets.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Correct.
But he has literally like dozens of times commented on stuff.
That's
Oscar
very cool.
winner
Yeah,
Gil
really
Gerard.
cool.
Oscar.
Yeah.
That's
But he will not reply to me. So
yeah, but Gil Gerard, I mean, it's Buck Rogers.
it's Buck Rogers.
Yeah, it's one of
That
those
means
guys. One of those
nothing to
favorite guys.
anybody now. Like, I mean, people that like born after blip blap year, like Gil Gerard, Buck Rogers. He's
The original
walking around-
sci-fi
I'm
hero
going
is
to
what
guess
Buck
though.
Rogers is.
I'm guessing though that fans of the Monster Squad probably know Buck Rogers.
Ooh, I don't know. Buck Rogers still pretty young for fans of Monster Squad because they were.
Well, it was a
Yeah,
70s, more of a
70s.
70s show, but I'm guessing that.
But I mean, Buck Rogers is what, an original Eurocomics guy. Like when did
Yeah.
Buck Rogers come out, in the 40s?
Oh, it may have been
50s,
earlier.
way
It may have been
earlier
earlier
than
than
that,
that.
Earlier
way
than that,
earlier in the
It came out in those little
newspapers.
Yeah, the newspapers.
Yeah, I mean,
It
it's
was
super
a
old Buck
comic
Rogers.
in the
That's Buck Rogers is classic.
Buck Rogers in
of the 21st century.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's pretty good stuff.
yeah.
I think
Americana. Very Americana, Buck Rogers.
well, and if you're
I think
Gil
it's
Gerard
pretty super.
and you've been Buck Rogers, you don't have to answer some Bucks.
You are,
as
but
a
you were the
podcast.
only Buck. Well, there was a couple
Do you
other
think
stuff.
Gil's
that we
like
were-
still like in like middle of the night? He like goes into the closet and he's like, I'm gonna put the costume on.
He is 100% sleeping in that costume every night.
No way.
100%.
It's stretchy. It was stretchy.
Yeah.
Right? It was good.
That's his pajamas.
It's, yeah. I don't know.
He's got like bitty bitty next to him.
Twiggy.
Hi, Twiggy.
I talked to Sam Jones,
Oh yeah.
right? So Flash Gordon, and he did the entire interview. Well, we met him at a convention, and he was trying to log on to the internet, and we were able to help him with that. He was struggling.
Yeah,
to do that.
okay.
He wanted to watch
Got it.
his son. His son
How do
was
I get on this world
minor league
wide
baseball
web?
player. He's wanting to
Okay.
watch his son play
Play.
a game.
Got
So
it. Okay.
we helped him with that. So he agreed to come on the podcast. So he comes on the Zoom, and he's standing in his living room, like standing. So I interviewed him for about an hour. He stood the entire time. But he's in his living room, and he's
Like a
surrounded by
rotation.
what looked like, I don't know, 100 boxes, just all around him, stacked up everywhere. And I asked him, I was like, Sam, are you moving? He's like, no. He's like, these are all my figures of me.
I knew you were gonna say that. I'm like, are they like Flash Gordon action figures?
Yeah, they're Flash Gordon action figures.
That he was just
Door.
hoarding, or
Wasn't a door.
like he was sending out.
He's sending them out.
Okay, so he's
So
sending.
I was like,
signing
Sam, I was
them.
like, Sam, can I get one of those? He's like, yeah, $20.
Yeah.
For you.
Did you
50.
dub the audio on your podcast with them?
Oh,
That would've
my
been great.
God. Deep cut. I think we met him. He was at a convention once.
Yeah,
He does
nice
a lot
guy.
of
Yeah,
conventions.
nice
He's
guy.
he's a nice guy.
By the way, Ming in that movie scared the absolute shit out of me.
Terrible.
That dude was a great villain.
He died
I mean,
not
it's,
too long ago,
was it?
right?
Yeah.
What was his name?
Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
but
terrifying.
in the tilting table with the spine. Oh, that's great, fantastic.
Flash.
When he came back and did the TV show, but he didn't play Flash.
He what?
He
We
came
weren't
back
paying
and did
attention
the
to you. What were
TV
you saying?
show. And yeah, I know. I interrupted your song. It was really good.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just saying he
It's your
didn't
show.
come back
Yeah.
for the TV show. Or he did come back, but he didn't play Flash.
I think
Who do you
they're
play in the
doing
show?
Flash Gordon now. I think they're
Oh, or they're redoing it again?
I believe
He was the guy in the prison. Yeah.
cool.
They should do Buck Rogers again.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you guys about.
We're gonna call it Buck Rogers.
You're working on a movie with another friend of ours called Demons Within. You did the work already.
Not yet. That's on a couple.
So
of
your friend Stephanie?
No, Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. Got it.
Yeah.
Great.
That's in a couple
Jeff
weeks.
Davis. So,
Yes.
so you start filming on it in a couple weeks. Are you both playing like clergy?
I don't think that's a secret. So we can.
It's
can
on
I
IMDb.
think
No,
because
they've
everybody
already
think
put
is yes.
things up,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I play a priest, and so does Ryan.
You're playing
Or
a
you play
Jewish bishop.
A Jewish bishop.
So he seemed to be like a higher level of priest than yours. So
Well, I'm a bishop.
I would have
a
been.
priest.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a rook.
Yeah, you're rookie.
You're the bishop, and I'm the.
You're the rook.
I'm the.
Well, I mean, like, do you
No.
have scenes together? Are you reporting to him? How's that working out?
He's. What do you? I haven't read the script yet. No, I have. You are the.
Are you the demon?
No, he's the. If it was the Exorcist type of thing, he's the father.
So
who
you're
is
doing the
trying to
exorcism.
help. Yeah, he's gonna.
Yeah,
exorcise
I
the
help
demon from the.
I'm the one that helps the lead protagonist.
And I'm the bishop who's saying, you can't do this. You're not
Right.
allowed to do this. The church won't allow this to happen.
Oh, you get to be like a rogue priest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got to help the lead. Like, I mean, she's this. She gets possessed by these spirits that I'm not gonna give away the movie because I don't know what they're divulging in the storyline, but it's kind of cool.
Everyone dies.
It's neat.
Yeah, it's a cool story.
But yeah, I've never played the priest. There's some Latin that apparently.
Okay.
So
Did you have you practiced it? Have you learned it yet?
Of course not. Yeah. So it's all part of the
Can't
craft.
give that away.
It's all part of the craft.
He hasn't learned it.
Do you get to keep the beard?
I'm doing a movie. As a
I
priest.
think a priest with the beard
I'm doing a
would look
movie.
good.
Are you keeping the beard?
I think they want me a little clean. I think they want me clean shave.
No, you should push back on that.
Might.
Don't you think?
I actually, about a month ago, it was like 3 weeks ago when I was talking to one of the production coordinators, he said, what's your measurements, for wardrobe? And he sent me, he goes, let's see if this fits. And he sent me the wardrobe. I mean, it is literally like straight up bishop, like the sash, the whole thing. And I put it on, I looked at myself in the mirror, I'm like, my grandparents are rolling in their grave right now. I was like, but I thought it was pretty good. I'm like, wow, this is cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good costume, wardrobe. And then he said, does it fit? And I said, yeah. I sent him pictures, and then he said, so we want you to grow like a really, really long beard. And I'm like,
I'm on board with that.
never gonna happen. I'm like, we're shooting the first week of September. I'm like, really long beard? He's like, yeah, like ZZ Top beard. I'm like, I have like I can grow a pretty good, like, oh my god, that guy's an alcoholic in the alley beard. But like, I can't grow like the full. It's not gonna go long. It's not gonna like drip down
Not
or
in
whatever.
2 months.
It goes more out.
Yeah,
It's
so
more
then
bushy.
then I was talking to the director, Stephanie, who's a wonderful human being, and I said, Dad, they want me to grow a beard. Like, she goes, I don't give a shit about the beard. She was like, we're punk rock. Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm like, great.
Would you have-
I'd like.
I said I'll grow as much as I can, and then
You
when I
need to
get
push
there,
back
you can
on that.
shave me, or we can just keep what I have.
Yeah, I first thought I was like, but if this guy's like this wants to help but reticent or getting to, like, I wanted him to be like a troubled priest. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of the
like
picture.
I always
got
wanted
in
him
my head.
like to be standing outside the bar and like not going in and,
Yes.
or something.
Yeah,
and I'm
just
like,
staring into the bar.
Yeah. But I don't think we get that deep with the backstory of this character.
Will you be sleeping in these bishop robes?
I brought it with me
Okay.
this event, and I'll probably be wearing it tomorrow.
Ryan's very method.
I kinda want
like,
you to
he's
wear it
actually
tonight.
performing mass on Sunday because for a month he has to do mass because he's method. So he's going
I have to
he's
counter
going
it
full
and go to a synagogue.
he's going
right
full
after.
he's going full bishop.
Now I'm regretting deciding to go see John Schneider tomorrow night instead of coming to the Monster Squad.
John Schneider is actually playing a rabbi.
Just a good old boy.
Dukes of Hazzard was that was
And
must see
we're back.
TV. Yeah,
And
we're
we're
all the way
back.
back. It was must see TV in the
Circled
80s.
back.
And I'm pretty sure there was a time period where it was back to back with the A-Team somewhere in there.
Dukes was might have the very first season or two. Probably I think it was the end of Dukes, beginning of 18.
That's
maybe.
what I'm thinking.
I was more of a like back-to-back Fantasy Island and
Love Boat.
Love Boat.
Did you ever do Love Boat? Either one of them?
I asked him a long time ago because I was on I'm gonna watch every episode of the Love Boat for some reason. I think it was like right before COVID and then like right into COVID. I'm like, I'm gonna watch every episode of the Love Boat because the guest stars are just
They're amazing.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You're like, who's on this? What? You would like die. You're like, oh my god, this show, this is gonna be amazing. So I would watch that, and then Fantasy Island was the same thing. And then I asked Andre, I said, were you ever on the Love Boat? He's like, no, but I was on Fantasy Island.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, which episode? And then ...
Yeah, our scenes were cut
Yeah.
from that episode of Fantasy Island, so there's no videographic proof of me being on.
But
Fantasy
who was on with you? You were the child of some people.
I can't remember who that was.
No,
but
you told me.
No, the other guy was Lorenzo Lamas.
It was right.
Lorenzo Lamas was on that.
What
episode.
he's up
before
to
he
now?
did.
And Lorenzo Lamas and Dorothy Hamill.
Oh.
Oh, that's a must-see episode.
Yeah, I know that we're not in. Dang it. And I can't remember the
footage
girl
is
that was
somewhere.
my sister. Like we were a family, and then like all of a sudden they just axed the kids from the episodes.
They used to show Fantasy Island Love Boat back to back in the
It was
morning.
Love Boat Fantasy Island. Fantasy Island was.
Well, yeah, they
Because
did
Fantasy,
Weirder had a little.
Fantasy Island was weirder. It had to be on
on
the
like
later.
Saturday night they did, but then they would show the reruns during the week in the morning. And
Oh,
you could watch,
gotcha.
yeah, like an episode of each
Yeah.
day of the week,
Yeah,
which is I think how
Yeah, Fantasy Island was cool because I was like, that's Ricardo Montalban. Like he sells
And
cars
tattoo.
with really nice leather.
And we're back. And
Did you ever play his son on
That would have been amazing. No, but every village has was always.
He
nice
did
guy.
play Hervey Village's son.
Yeah.
In real life.
He would have enjoyed that. He was a cool dude. Despite, I guess there's a lot of stories out right now.
The Peter Dinklage movie. Did you see this?
Smooth segue there.
What film are we talking about?
Peter Dinklage played Hervey Villages in like a bio film.
I don't think I've seen
It's
this.
brilliant. He's great.
Yeah,
It's
he's a
actually
great
like
actor.
you'll watch the film and you're like, oh, that's what happened to Hervey Villages. Oh,
Yeah,
that's what happened?
it's not
full
fun.
player, full 70s player.
Yeah, big time. So they were even like Roger Moore
Super
was
badass.
taken aback by like every village has his antics on set of Bond movie. He's like, that's a little too much for even me.
I want to see
And I'm Roger
a
Moore.
movie, a biopic with just Roger Moore and Hervey Villages like on the road.
I would watch that.
I'm gonna write it.
What's it called? A Little More?
Oof! Oh God!
Well, you just
Wow.
reminded me.
Wow!
Ryan, I got to ask you about this because he just reminded. Not that this has anything to do with that, but it reminded me of this for some reason. Did you do a hip hop guide to L.A. at some point?
I did it. Yeah, sort of. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what it's called. I did. I don't know if it was hip.
I need to know
Or a hip-hop
what
guide.
what you were wearing and what the music was like on this.
It was
Hip-hop
no,
guide to
it's
LA.
like- It wasn't hip hop guide. It was a hip guide.
Oh, a hip hop. No, a hip guide.
There was no
No hop in the.
There was no hopping anywhere.
Well, now I'm not as excited.
My
about it.
manager was pretty ambitious when I was young. Like he liked to let's get you out there, let's do these things. He wanted to be a part of things as well. It wasn't just like I'm gonna manage your career, let's do some extra things. So we did like a short film called Laddie 1 and Evil J, which was actually really good. It's black and white, interesting experiment that we did with one of my best friends at the time, Jason Ibbotson. And then he was like, let's do like a VHS thing that we send out. It's a guide to Hollywood. Hey, if you come to Hollywood, do this. Come and do this. And it was called Ryan Lambert's Hip Guide to LA, I think.
Yeah.
And it was.
Do you have a copy of it?
I do not. I'm sure that some people do. I know people do.
Can you do one called the hip hop guy?
I will do the hip hop guy. Hi, I'm the whitest guy on earth, and I will tell you what hip hop is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm not as excited
I've
about
not
the hip
seen
guy.
it. I've not seen it in a billion years, so I don't know where I'm.
Well, it's like
at.
they said it was 1988.
I think I'm just standing in front of the Hollywood sign. Hi. That's pretty much it. And then I don't know where we went. I don't remember what it was. I know that people listening that are like, you went to.
You went to Ed
You were saying and then you went to the.
If I find a copy of this,
No,
will you
let's
reenact?
get really high and watch it together.
Bring the Nerf football.
William Shatner will come.
Well, Shatner was part of your.
Shatner and Gil and.
You know, going.
And Hervé Villagez.
How did you not ask him to reenact that scene?
Who?
William Shatner.
He didn't know
Ask-
it existed.
Didn't I
That's the
ask
problem.
Shatner to
He
do-
literally didn't know.
I'm not going to
that
ask
it was a
Shatner to do
thing.
anything.
You couldn't
but
hand
finish
him a
his
Nerf
salad.
football and say, "Here, throw this to me."
No, I would not do that.
You
His
could have
arm
made that
would have
guy's
been- He would have
entire.
been in therapy. For
No, because I
physical
love that. It's
therapy.
a great scene. I have it because I'll show it to you. We were shooting
like
it.
a Mean Joe Green type thing, right?
It's great. It's one of my favorite
Like
things.
the
So
Pepsi.
Yeah.
we're at LAX, like shooting in a terminal.
Yeah.
Because they can just shut down a LAX terminal for a TV show, and the kids are leaving, and there's this whole thing like, oh, Dad didn't spend a lot of time with us, so we didn't get the thing, and it's that, and we're supposed to walk down. And me and the sister, like I said, her name was Jenny Beck. She was the blonde. She was the little girl in the series V, which was a fantastic
I
television.
thought the little girl in the series V was
Not the new one, the old
Helen Hunt.
No, the old one was Jenny Beck.
Oh,
And
okay.
she, so we have to walk down and go through the doorway, and the director, I'm not sure, it might have been like E.J. Swackhammer or something, all these, great TV directors at the time. He's like, okay, get to the door, turn, because we never had our game of catch. This was the whole point. Like, hey, you want to go? He's like, I gotta go to work. So we never had a game of catch, right? It was one of those things. And I have the football in my arm and a suitcase in my hand.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay, get to the door, stop, turn around, throw the ball to Bill. Bill's gonna throw it back to you, like drop the suitcase. Bill's gonna throw it back to you, catch it, pick up the suitcase, and you two walk down the ramp. It's like, great. We go, we rehearse it, rolling, let's do it, go down, turn around, drop the suitcase, throw the ball, Shatner throws it back to me, pick up the suitcase, walk down the ramp. It's cut, I'm like, yeah. He goes, never mind, doesn't work. Let's not do the throw. It's too clunky, it takes too much time. I said, what's the problem? He goes, it doesn't work, like you drop the suitcase and it takes too much time. I said, I'll fix this. Throw it right here.
Yeah.
He goes, okay.
How was Shatner's spiral?
It was great.
Yeah.
And so I go and I turn around, I throw him the ball, and Shatner puts it right back. I catch it one-handed and turn around and walk down the ramp one take. Done.
Cut.
And everybody goes, holy crap, that was amazing. I was like,
Yeah, it
just catching
obviously
the football
impacted
one-handed.
at least one guy. That
And
watched it.
it was great. So it was I like that scene because I finally got my game of catch with Papa with Papa TJ Hooker.
Yeah.
And caught it one-handed, which was pretty badass. So it's okay.
So when the guy came to you with the football,
Oh,
was
we're back
that
on this?
was that the suitcase?
Yes, he wanted me. Yeah.
So he had the suitcase with him. That's why he was carrying it?
like a little blazer.
Oh, that's creepy.
Because I had to wear like a tie and like you were wearing a suit to get on an airplane.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
glad
creepy.
you said creepy and not me.
I didn't say
Yeah,
that.
that's
I
great.
didn't say that.
It's terribly creepy.
So you also did a Night Rider.
I did.
You like hit all the shows.
I did.
Yeah. Did you play catch with Hasselhoff? Or?
No, all my scenes were with Kit, except for at the very, very end.
Oh, he played catch with Hazzard.
In-N-Out
You know what
burgers
I
and
mean. If you
In-N-Out
know what
burgers
I
and
mean.
whiskey. But I had actually known Hasselhoff from Young and the Restless because he was. I started on Young and the Restless. Like my first month on Young and the Restless was his last month on Young and the Restless because he played a guy named Snapper. His name was like Dr. Snapper on Young and the Restless. Yeah, he like
Snapper.
So Hasselhoff was on Young and the Restless. No, all my scenes, I was kind of like a B plot and this kid had scenes with Kit, and just a little bit of interaction with Michael Knight.
It's pretty cool.
From
Yeah, it's not bad.
Knight Industries. But yeah, what's funny is everybody's like, you've done every cool show.
Yeah.
And except for Magnum, I never did a Magnum PI, and I wanted to do a
But
Magnum.
you got Remington.
I did Remington Steele,
Yeah.
so that's sort of like the non-cool Magnum PI.
That's right.
But there's I always tell people when they marvel that, like, you've done all these guest spots. I'm like, that's because I was available, because my television career is the kid that did 5 or 6 TV shows that went 1 or 2 seasons, not one show that went 6 seasons that everybody knows, and you don't have time to do anything, so you're free to bounce around and do all these shows. So, all of our other friends were all on shows their entire
That
lives,
lasted, yeah.
and they only did one thing.
Yeah.
And I don't see it as a bad thing, except for my retirement account. But that's, you want to be on a show forever, but you also don't get to do all this other stuff if you are.
Yeah,
so it's a little trade-off. So it's all right. I did chop down a tree with Mr. T.
Yeah, that's
And
a tough one to beat.
And rode in Kit.
Yeah, that's a tough one to beat.
And hung out with a Bond. I've hung out with 2 Bonds.
Who's the second one?
Bronson and who was the very first one? I hung out with George
was the
Lazenby
very-
in a bar
Who
in
was
Santa
the
Monica.
very
Really?
first one?
George
Did you just
Lazenby.
ask that?
Yeah, so
He wasn't the very first one.
Well,
Oh, the first one you hung out.
yes.
So Ryan, do they do Kids Incorporated conventions?
No,
We need to start
not
one.
that I know of.
Yeah, we need to start one.
Go ahead, I won't be there.
Come on. Come on.
Rough. Well, the only reason I don't think I would maybe show up is because I know for a fact that I will not name names, but I know that there won't be many people from when I was there
Yeah.
that would show up. So it would be like a bunch of people like after me, and then me. I'm not gonna. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Do you look down on the ones that came later? Not original.
Of course
cast?
not. No way. Not at all. No, I mean, I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, I always looked at that show, in the 80s, I was friends with a few of the, Menudo guys.
Yeah.
And, including
They were
Ricky Martin.
monsters in the 80s.
Yeah, and they were so popular. It was huge, and I sort of, they were really, over the top, famous. And Kids Inc. was not that as famous as them, but I sort of looked at it in the same light, where it's you get too old, you're out. And so when the time came
Makes
and
sense.
it was time for me to go, I feel like I overstayed my welcome too, because if you watch my last season, it's me, Stacy, and tiny babies.
Yeah.
We're towering over these kids, and it just didn't look good. So when I got the call, hey man, your
That's what happens with
producer
teenagers.
called, was you're
though.
out. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's too much now. I think Stacy stayed one more season, and then that was it.
Do you remember your last song?
No.
Yeah, I don't know it either. I was hoping you would.
But I did not watch it afterwards, but I remember hearing later who was on. I mean, it was Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Right.
She was on the season right after, not right after me, but after Stacy left.
Yeah.
I think she replaced Stacy, and then.
I mean, it's an impressive cast when you go back and look.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things that just keeps going. It should keep going. They should redo it now.
I'm surprised. Are you
If
surprised they
it
haven't
was
redone
on
it?
now, if I was on it, if I was that young and on it now, it would be a phenomenon.
Yeah.
But at the time, we moved from syndication to the Disney Channel,
Yeah.
and the Disney Channel was nothing. No one could afford it. So when we moved from syndication to no one saw it. It was kind of over. You'd think oh, the Disney Channel. Wow, you're on the Disney, but it was
Not back
too
then.
expensive.
Yeah, it was
So a lot of people couldn't see the show anymore, and it kind of died.
So if they remade it today and they said, we want you to be on there, what would be your role?
What would be my role?
Yeah, right now.
The guy in bed not doing it.
You wouldn't come back and play a music
Hell
teacher
no.
or something?
No. I mean, I don't know. I never say never.
Never
with
say
anything,
never.
But just depends on what it is. I'm not gonna sing on stage and wear a sequin jacket if that's what you're asking.
That is kind of what I was asking. Yes, I was kind of getting at that. Yeah.
What if Menudo came back?
That's
Would
not-
you do it with Menudo? Would you join Menudo now? Menudo?
Is that still going? Are they still
Yeah.
doing it? I think Ricky
You
Martin's
can-
in trouble somehow.
No,
You can
that
scrap-
thing kind of got
Yeah,
cleared
you
up.
can scrap my
That got
idea if
cleared
you're going to redo
It got cleared up. But Menudo has been in that room with the pool table and the big TV that we talked about. They said-
Really?
Yeah.
There's a great photo
Were they impressed
somewhere.
by the TV?
And they might have been impressed by that giant 35-inch TV.
All right.
There's a great photo of Menudo, and I'm standing in the middle of Menudo, and I'm like full blown like Monster Squad Rudy, like leather jacket, hair, like the whole thing. And we're all just looking at the camera, and everyone's like, "Wow, you got a picture of you and Menudo." I'm like, "No, that's a picture of Menudo with me."
That's right.
They
That's right.
wanted the picture with me. Yeah,
So they were Monster Squad fans.
they were huge. Well, I think it was Kids Inc.
Yeah.
They liked Kids Inc.
So okay, so we got to talk a little bit about Monster Squad before we wrap this up.
Oh, have you seen it?
I vaguely remember
Okay.
it.
Good.
You know, in the mid '80s, I saw every single movie that came out, and I was a fan from the beginning. I wasn't one of these 10 years later or 20 years later fans. I was right from the beginning.
Okay. Did you see it in the theater or did you see it?
Saw it in the theater.
Saw it in the theater. You were one of those few.
I was, yeah, it was
Good.
me, maybe 4 other people.
Yeah, that's welcome to the release.
And I'm
of
pretty
Monster.
sure I saw it at a midnight showing
Oh.
at our local theater. They had a Friday night midnight showing. I'm pretty sure that's
Yeah, well, that's good. So you're a
That's
theater group. That's very few of those.
I mean, but looking back now, right? Because it really didn't get what it deserved when it came out. There's a reason it's a cult classic now. It's got a lot of appeal, and now here you are, 35 years later, and it's still kind of going strong. It just started late.
Well, it is. It had, it found its audience early, but the audience didn't get together and relaunch it until 2006.
Well, there was no internet.
2007. Yeah, that certainly helped. There's a number of reasons. I think it's anywhere from 4 to 5 of why it didn't succeed box office wise, and then they didn't give it a chance to get word of mouth, and then it got yanked. Which we kind of covered that a little bit in Wolfman's Got Nards, but the impact that it had on whether you saw it in the theater and then told your friends about it, and then you saw it on HBO and recorded it or passed around the neighborhood, or you went and rented it every Friday from your video store.
I remember it coming out on HBO when
Yeah,
it first came out.
it was a big deal, and that's where a lot of the OG fans saw it. They saw it on HBO and they saw it at their local video store, and they just kept renting it or kept recording it and passing it around to the neighborhood, and that lingered for 20 years until it kind of blew up in 2006, 2007.
Yeah. Yeah, what was that like when that group in Texas contacts you guys and they're like, "Hey, we want to do a Monster Squad reunion"? I mean, had you even thought about it in 20 years?
I at that time I was living in San Francisco. I had been in bands for years. I sort of forgot, not I didn't forget, but sort of just went to the wayside in my brain, where I wasn't even acting anymore. I was like, all right, I'm done with that, and move on to a new venture. Was in bands in LA for a while, and then I moved to San Francisco, and then 2005, because when he contacted us, right? And then the event was in 2006.
It was in April 2006, so yeah, it may have been December.
Maybe the end of 2005 or something like that.
Very close.
Yeah, I got an email from Eric Vespi of Ain't It Cool News at the time, and he was linked to the Alamo Draft House in Austin, Texas, and he just random email, and he said, "Hey, we're gonna do a screening of the film, and we'd love to have you." And I was like, "What? Are you? What do you mean?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Well, I think we got Andre and we got Fred and Ashley." I'm like, "Who?" Like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm like, "Oh, you did this movie when you were a kid." "Oh, right, the Monster Squad." Jeez, that was so long ago. That movie bombed. So why do you want to do something? He's like, "You don't know?" I'm like, "I do not know." And he was like, "It's huge." I'm like, "Yeah, hilarious. Okay. And he said, no, it's actually like it has a cult following now. It snowballed into a VHS thing, and people, HBO, like you said, and people started watching it, and it became kind of a cult classic kind of thing. I'm like, there's no way. But sure, yeah. I mean, so what? Like, I come to Austin, like, you're gonna put me up in a hotel? Yeah, you're gonna pay for my flight. I'm like, they're like, yeah, this is how this works. I'm like, I don't know. I'm in a band. I'm in the back of a van, traveling. And like, I don't know how this like rad shit works.
Yeah.
Where you get to like be ushered to the United States and the world, going to these screenings or these conventions and things. I didn't know what this was. So I said, yeah, I guess Andre's gonna be there. And like, yeah, I'm like, Andre Gower, the kid that was in the movie. I'm gonna see him. You're gonna see the director of the movie? They're like, yes. Say yes. I'm like, yes. Like, I'll come. There'll be like 5 people in the audience. I thought it was gonna be like a small little. I'd never heard of Alamo Draft House at the time, so I was like, sure, let's go. And I thought it was gonna be like a crappy little theater with like gum on the floor and like there's gonna be like 6 people. I love a movie. And we went. I got to see some old friends.
Yeah.
And they showed the film twice. Sold out.
They had to do a second screening.
They had to do a second screening. Easter weekend.
It's amazing.
And we walked on that stage, and it wasn't Beatles territory, but it was like, what the fuck? My mind exploded. I had no idea any of this was happening. I was just living in my little sheltered little rock and roll world.
Yeah.
And sort of forgot. I didn't forget the movie existed, but like it just was.
Did you watch the movie before you went to the event?
No.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it since the 80s. We sat in the back. They were like, "Well, what can I get you?" I'm like, "It says you have fried pickles." They're like, "You want us to bring you a basket of fried pickles?" I'm like, "Yes, yeah."
Yeah.
And they were like, we were in the back, like up against the wall, and they were like, the whole theater was sold out. And I'm watching the movie. I'm watching it. I'm like, God, I haven't seen this in like a billion years. This is kind of fun. And every single like key line that everyone knows now.
Yeah.
Wolfman's got Nards. I'm in the goddamn club, aren't I? You know, like the whole thing.
Were they yelling them out?
Completely
awesome.
screaming it out. And I'm like, this is absolutely intense. And it's only gotten bigger from that screaming, which is the mind-blowingest thing. I can't believe I'm even sitting in West Virginia talking to you about this. It's still a little bit bizarre to me.
Yeah. Yeah, normally I would have expected you to make it through West Virginia maybe on the 60th anniversary. So you're early.
Too early. Well, you have to wheelchair me in here.
60th.
Oh boy.
I am a little disappointed that you didn't wear
Catheter.
like a leather jacket coming in to the interview.
It's too hot. It's too hot outside.
It's hot. Summertime.
I can't wear a leather jacket in this heat.
Can't you though?
I don't. Well, I mean, the funny story about that jacket is that I had it for years.
Yeah.
And we did a screening somewhere. I don't remember where that was, but I brought it. Like, I'll bring it. I'll bring the jacket.
Where's the Castro?
And where was it?
The Castro.
Was it in San Francisco?
That was the Castro one.
I don't think so.
I thought you left it on the BART.
Yeah, no, because there was a flight and I got on the train on the way back, so it was somewhere else. So I brought the jacket to show people. Here's the jacket. Literally, like, maybe I could put an arm in the main part.
Yeah.
It's not gonna fit me anymore. But I had it, and on the way back,
Well, see, make some money on that jacket now.
Well, no, someone is. On the way back, I was on the BART in San Francisco, and I was so tired I fell asleep, and someone stole my bag. The jacket's wherever the hell it is now. So
I mean, does it help if you think that maybe they were a Monster Squad fan?
I am 100% sure they weren't. And they were like, what the fuck is this garbage? And they probably threw it in trash, and it's burnt, and it's gone.
Yeah.
The best thing about that is that in that pocket, which I did not know when I first got it off the hanger, as I went into the pocket, and I'm like, what is this? And I pulled out the silver bullet. I'm like, oh my God, this
You're
is
lying.
the silver bullet. No.
What
I
happened?
kept
Did they also steal the silver
No,
bullet?
I kept the silver bullet. I
Oh.
still have that.
All right,
And
all right,
so
that's pretty cool.
The redemption of that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I did not know it was in the pocket because if you watch the film, I pull it out of the pocket.
Yeah, yeah.
So like when the shot was over,
Stuck it back in there.
I put it, because I'm a professional. We go back to one, so I put it back in, and then they were like, "We're done, cut, we're good."
I
And
tell
then
people
took
that
the
all the
jacket off,
time.
and it was
You
still
go
in-
back to one
Go back to one.
if you're a real professional, but nobody knows what I'm talking about.
They don't know what they don't know. What
Did you decide that you were gonna you're like at this event, this crazy event? Is that when it hit you and you're like, oh, maybe I'll do a documentary?
At that first.
Right then.
No. This was years later, probably eight years after that. Probably 2015-ish.
Yeah.
And I started realizing, in another year or two, we were going to come up on the 30th anniversary, and we're probably going to be very busy and do some stuff. And I was actually walking around my neighborhood where I eat lunch, and I was just coming up with this crazy idea. And I think I called you. I was like, hey, I've got this. I was like, we're going to be on the road. We got like 4 or 5 big conventions.
Bring your
We're gonna
bullet.
do a couple screenings. Why don't I see if I can go buy like a used, like decent 4K camera, and then like you and I will go on the road on these things, and we'll do some like guerrilla style or like fan on the street stuff, just you and I, video stuff, and then we'll come back, we'll set like, because we know 4 or 5 big Monster Squad fans at home, and we're like, we'll sit them in a chair, we'll do an interview, and then, because this is when Ryan and I were doing our podcast, like Ryan and I were doing a bunch of stuff under the brand banner Ryan and Andre, and so we were trying to craft this thing for a number of years, and the podcast was one of them. We did a show called Short Ends, which I created and sold to the Nerdist platform, and that was one of our favorite projects. And I said, why don't we do this like a little short documentary, and then we'll throw it on our website, and people can watch it for like $2, and we'll just do a little shitty kind of run and gun type of thing. And I was like, let's do it. And we were getting ready to go to a big convention somewhere, Chicago, something. And I brought some friends with us with gear. And I said, why don't we just try this and see what it looks and sounds like? And it looked and sounded not good. And they're like, yeah, okay, so we're going to rethink that.
This is good.
And right at that same time, I was dealing with another television show kind of development contract thing at Lionsgate, and that didn't work out well. I was like, oh, okay, this documentary thing, I don't know. And then I sold Short Ends, and Ryan, and I was like, hey, I like that show, we're doing that show. It's gonna be a couple months, we go into production. He's like, holy shit. And at the same time, I was pitching this documentary idea around to other entities, and everybody thought that would be cool, but no one was interested. And I had a great serendipity day outside of Pilgrim Media Group, and I was taking a friend of mine to lunch, and we delayed a little bit as she was getting into the car to meet someone, and then these 3 guys came out of the front door, and they knew who I was, but we had never met, and they came over and said, well, what are you doing? And Pilgrim Media Group had just gotten acquired by Lionsgate, a month prior to that. So there was a tie-in with this TV show. He's like, well, we want to be your production company for this TV show that you're doing at Lionsgate. I was like, is that my call? Or like, okay, I think we're getting this, figured out. But great. He's like, what else are you working on? I said, well, actually, I just sold a show to Nerdist, and I'm trying to develop this documentary idea about Monster Squad. He's like, wait, you're doing the documentary at Monster Squad? He's like, because that's what we're trying to do in here, and we're trying to in-house produce some high-end stuff, and I think it's something we can take for the executives. And that was a very lucky day that I met Henry McComas and Wes Caldwell and Aaron Kunkel, because that's what turned into Wolfman's Got Nards. And And it was only because I was picking my friend Jen off up for lunch, and we delayed a minute to meet this kid named Andrew, and then those three guys came out, and that's why we have the awesomeness that is Wolfman's Got Nards, because that's all those guys is heavy lifting on that.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
But to actually answer your question, it was leading up. I said I think there's a story there, because we kept going around and meeting these fans and learning how this movie impacted these people and how it stuck with them. And I was like, these stories are a story. And like, it's been 8 years or 9 years, like we've been getting all this attention. Why don't we figure out and ask the question why this is happening? And it's about these fans, and it's about the people that love something or it impacted. And then it got deeper and deeper, and the onion grew, and it got more layered. And like I said, with all this, super deep work by Henry and Wes and Aaron, all these folks at my studio partnership with that, I had a lot to do with the doc, but I give a lot of the credit to those guys, because the doc turned out really well. I give a lot of credit to Ryan, because I dragged him everywhere, and Ashley, and we went on these tours, and they're not only going on a 3-week-long tour in a different city every day. That's hard enough, but then to have cameras in your face and ask them to do all this extra stuff, and all of them were just amazing, and it made that documentary what it is.
It's a really well done documentary.
Thank you.
I didn't have to wear a sequin jacket. And I didn't have to sing.
You got to walk around London.
You got to walk around London. The funny thing about that thing is, Andre, what a fantastic job they did on this doc. I still watch. I watch it as a fan, and I still watch it. At 3 in the morning, in my underpants. I'm like, look at me, I'm amazing. But I still can't believe the stories that we heard and the capturing that we got.
Yeah.
Because it really did begin with the fact that we were like, everyone's telling us the same thing, and it's not to diminish anybody's story, but the fact that everyone was saying the same thing.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we made the cards, the Monster Squad cards. We had a clubhouse. We wanted to fight the monsters. I wanted to be Rudy, but I was really Horace. Or, I was Sean. I was the leader of the thing. We're like, And you'd think that we would go, yes, we've heard this fucking shit a million times. But it was just like, is this really happening?
Well, it's so meaningful.
That's what's so great.
To each person.
To this day, I talked to a director the other day that I'm going to work with, I think in mid-September, and we were talking. We were. He said to me, he was like, I can't believe you're going to be in my movie. When I was a kid, I made cards.
Yeah.
We made Monster Squad cards, and we walked around the neighborhood, and we were like, do you need our services? We'll kill the monsters for you, and all this stuff. And it was because the reason he's directing now is because he saw the Monster Squad.
That's amazing.
And that is really the only reason. He's like, I'm 80. He said I'm 85%. I'm 85% a filmmaker because of Monster Squad. And I just was like, I'm blown away by that. I'm blown away. Like, he was one of those kids that like went and got the VHS and watched it a million times, to the point when like his parents had fucking spend $90 to buy the goddamn thing from the video store, because it was like, we're wearing this thing out, or they stole it, or and we hear these stories over and over again, and that's pretty much the core of the documentary, is that how did this happen? This isn't Rocky Horror. This isn't a cult thing that you think. This is not the Goonies or whatever.
Right.
This is something completely different. And
but it resonates.
It's one of those movies where I like to say, and Andre and I talk about this all the time, if you know, you know. We'll be at a convention, and we're sitting behind the thing, and we'll see someone walk by. It says, they're wearing the Stephen King Rules T-shirt, and then they come across a person that's wearing a Freddy T-shirt.
Yeah. And
they're like, oh yeah, Stephen King does rule, and they're like, you don't know what this is.
Yeah.
But I know what that is, because that's fucking Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
It's a secret club.
Yeah.
So which
is pretty cool.
When we are talking to someone and then we sign something for them, and we try to be as accommodating and as humble as we can, and a lot of people that do these conventions, they don't, they just sign, thank you.
Right.
We're out there, let's take pictures, let's do a thing, let's do the monster hands, we're doing
Yeah,
the
as
whole
a
thing
fan,
for
you're
them.
what we're looking for.
Because we're
We don't want to
excited
just get
too.
pushed to the side.
We're excited too.
Yeah.
That wow, you know what this is, and they're like, I can't believe I'm getting to be part of it. And then I always say, you're in the goddamn club, and they go, I'm dying right now.
Yeah. Well, you're going to meet one tonight. I told you.
I can't wait.
He spent his childhood pretending he was part of
I can't wait to throw him in the pool.
the Monster Squad. Well, secretly later you have to tell. Like, I don't know the answer. So I don't know which character
He's gonna get
pretended
kicked
to
in
be.
the Nards, by the way.
But yeah, I would love to see that.
Oh, that's happening.
But you have to tell me secretly who you. Like once you meet him, you got to tell me who you think he
should have been.
should have been. Because I don't know his answer. We'll find out, I'm sure.
I'm 100% sure it's Eugene.
I was going to say it's me, Eugene.
Yeah, we're going to find out. All right, so I know we got to wrap up, but I got a couple of questions that got sent to
Fire
me.
away.
So I'm going to ask you to see if you know the answer. I'm
Okay.
sure you've been asked 100 times, so you should know the answer. But
Oh boy.
so the first one is, how did the dog get into the treehouse?
There is an answer.
That's a good. Yeah, you got that.
They did an insert shot, or a shot to show.
Yeah.
They just didn't have it in the final cut. It's a dumbwaiter, so he just gets pulled up in a box
Okay.
on a pulley.
It's not as exciting as I was hoping
when we
for.
do the thing,
Yeah.
and then the dog, and then I did a voiceover later. How the hell did the dog get up here anyway, or whatever?
I think we're supposed to cut to us
That
coming
was-
out of the tree, and then
Yeah,
the dog
because that
going
was
down.
over.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have said that if they had shown
They didn't
how
show
he
it.
did
Right.
it. So I did how the hell does that dog get up here anyway? So we had to say that, and then there's still no answer. But at least my character's which is weird to think. I thought about this. It's weird. I thought about this recently. If I'm in the clubhouse, not me, Rudy is in the clubhouse, and the dog is in there, I would have seen that happen.
Maybe he was there before you.
So he was just hanging out and taking dumps in the corner.
Sure. Yeah. But no, we pulled him up in a little pulley
Am I
dumbwaiter.
being too vulgar for this podcast?
Yes. I'm going to have to edit all this out. Thank you so much.
All of your
Children
all of
listening,
your Pete dumps.
Rudy's a dick.
So here's the last one.
Okay.
Is why did Dracula blow the clubhouse up? What's the point of that?
To kill
he,
us.
Well, he knew you weren't in there though,
No,
right?
he didn't. He thought we were in there. That's the whole point.
I
That's why
think-
he says meeting adjourned. He thinks we're in the tree.
Okay.
Also, I think it was just to piss us off.
Yeah.
No, he thinks we're in there.
You're fucking ruining my shit.
That's more what I was thinking.
You're ruining my shit, so I'm gonna fucking
But if he
ruin
did-
your
if he-
shit.
if
No,
he knew
you're
you-
ruining my shit, so
he
I'm
thought
going to
you were
blow
in
you
there.
up. He thought you.
Yeah, if he
he
thought
thinks
you were
we're
in there, then that's an easy answer.
Yes, because you have to take a little. This is one of my favorite things to talk about recently. Is you have to take in context of another thing that is a plot hole or we don't get the answer to. At the very beginning of the Monster Squad, it has the crawl, and it
Right.
says they blew it at the end. Well, we don't ever learn how they blew it.
Right.
And the short answer is they catch, back in Van Helsing days, they catch Dracula, they stake him, they put him in a wagon, and then they go up to the castle to do this limbo thing. And they leave a guy by the campfire to guard the body. As he's guarding it, 3 vampire brides come out of the mist. He shoots one with the crossbow, the other gets and he stabs her,
3.
and then the other one comes up and she's choking him and he's flailing around, about to get taken out. He finds a stake, grabs it, kills her, and goes, "Whew, I made it." However, what he's done is he has unstaked Dracula.
Right.
And when you know vampire lore, when you unstake a vampire, they come back to life. So he thinks he's made it. Duncan, he sits up in the wagon, stares at him, he's toast. Dracula gets away. So that's how they blew it. So for 99.9 years, Dracula's been walking away pissed off, waiting for this moment of
For
the
his
balanced
revenge.
equilibrium to take over the world, and he's got 5 kids in his way. And that's why he's so pissed, and that's why he wants to kill us. I mean, he sends Frankenstein's monster to kill us.
Yeah.
He doesn't succeed, so he goes to finish the job by blowing us up with dynamite.
It's like you were in the movie.
You one would think.
One would think. So, but if you know the original,
That actually
if
makes
you know
sense.
if you know the script
So,
and you know the shots that were shot
yeah.
and all that, it's
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. You just have to go back all the way to the beginning.
That's why I love to watch Duncan's performance. And go, why is he so pissed? He is laser focused because this is his day. He's got 48 hours. He's like, I've been waiting 99.9 years.
Yeah, that's
right
actually
now.
really good acting now that you think of it that way.
I mean, my thing is that everybody talks about sequels and reboots and series and comic books. I was like, the story I want to see is what our Dracula in the Monster Squad universe was doing for those 99 years.
Yeah, I'd watch.
I want to see that show.
I'd watch that. Have you ever watched the TV show from the
drinking
70s?
beer and
I've seen a little
Sidekicks.
Monster Squad.
He's drinking beer, watching us on Sidekicks.
Yeah, he's just
Watching reruns.
binging Sidekicks and Knight Rider and T.J. Hooker drinking blood beer.
Yeah, no, I think that's some cool story stuff. But that's why he blows up the trio.
Yeah,
he's like
that's a really thorough.
He's like, I have stuff to do, and these kids are in the way, so I don't care.
Yeah,
I take it out.
It's really good.
Now the great thing about that wagon scene where the guy that's all good stories are a series of setups and payoffs, whether it's in a scene or in an act or in an entire movie, and that's all Monster Squad is.
Right.
But our script kept getting cut. There were scenes, pages flying out, scenes not shot, scenes shot that didn't make the final cut. Monster Squad is 82 minutes of setups, and you never get the payoff, and payoffs that you don't know are payoffs because you never got the setup because it was just yanked out. There was so much more fleshed out in that whole story. And one of them is a great tie-in because it's Ryan's scene at the end, which is one of the better kind of shots in the movie when he takes out the three vampire
So who
brides
got the
in street.
director's cut? Like a 2-hour version.
Well, a lot of it wasn't shot. A lot of it's not shot. So I love that setup of the guy by the campfire because he shoots one of them, the other one's close, he stabs her, then the other one's choking him and he flails right in. It's the same thing that happens to Ryan on the street. It's a payoff of that. It's a thing that we never get.
Yeah, now I want to see that movie. I want to see that movie.
I want it. Yeah, that scene was shot, and they have it. The deleted scene. It's like floating around on YouTube somewhere.
That's
But it's
true.
it's a great sequence, and it ties in with Ryan's cool scene at the end.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming by the studio. I'm so excited to have you here in the studio. You know, you do 400 episodes on Zoom. Somebody actually shows up. It's pretty exciting.
It's totally different.
It's totally different.
Totally different.
So this has been terrific. I'm sure this will be much better than hanging out with your fans tomorrow night. It's tomorrow night.
Yes. Well, whenever you're Saturday night.
Saturday night. Yeah.
Not like I messed up the newscast.
That's right.
It's interesting because the screening's tomorrow, Saturday night.
Yeah.
The actual anniversary of the film being released is Sunday.
Yeah. So
Really?
we are actually in the technical 35th anniversary weekend.
Cusp.
The actual
35
weekend.
years.
So
That's actually pretty cool.
that's a long time ago.
Huh?
What? They turned on my hearing aid.
Get me a walkout.
So before we wrap up, let's go through your social medias. Andre, if you want to take us through, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Andre Gower and on Instagram at Andre Gower Official. And please follow the documentary Wolfman's Got Nards on both platforms under the handle at the Squad Doc.
Oh, very nice, very nice. Ryan, where can we find you on social media?
Under the covers at home.
Yep.
Crying.
Of course.
And that's pretty much it. No. Ryan Lambert 111. Pretty much everywhere.
Okay. Why 111?
I have no idea.
Somebody had 110.
I think 111 has always kind of been like the number, one of those things you see it all the time. Like, oh my god, you look at the clock, it's like 111 or it's 1111 or like I always seen ones. Everyone always say,
Yeah. I knew there had to be something like that.
there's some sort of mystical
Weird.
garbage going on with that.
Significance.
But yeah, it was also just like, I'm old, so I've been around since all these things started. I mean, MySpace, Friendster.
Ooh, Friendster.
I think I was Friends.
I haven't heard of Friendster in a long time.
111 at Friendster, whatever. It's always just 111, so it's just sort of stuck.
You need to come on these podcasts, and that should be the only social media you're giving out. Friendster, MySpace.
Friends from MySpace.
That's it.
I actually went on MySpace not that long ago. I'm like, can I remember my password? How do I get in here? And I remembered, and I got on. And like,
Was your page still there?
That's my MySpace. I'm
What
like,
was your
God.
song? What was your music?
Did we have songs on
On MySpace, you
I
had
don't think I
music.
had. I still had like my 8 friends or whatever. It's like 3 girlfriends I haven't seen since. It's like cool.
Those are your true friends,
Well,
the MySpace friends. Well, thank you guys so much. This has been terrific. We got to wrap up. We got a pool party to go to.
we got a pool party.
We got to
That's
wrap
right.
up. Thank you guys for listening. You know, if you haven't done so yet, we could really use the help with our YouTube channel, Meisterkhan Pod. Please subscribe. That would really help us out. You can also find all today. We released episode 438. You can find all of those, audio and video, on our website, meisterkhan.com. So definitely check that out. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, bye, everybody. Say bye.
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 Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We didn't do too bad. I was shooting for an hour. We're about an hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, just hit stop. I'll edit that.
Squawk.